All right, guys, welcome back to the very first episode of the Offer Owner Spotlight. Super excited to kick this series off and just to show a little bit of the reasoning behind why we're doing these videos before we get into this amazing interview with Joanne here. The goal of these are really to show you guys how possible this is, to really show you that there are people out there who aren't just the gurus you see driving around flexing, that are making this whole offer ownership thing a real lifestyle and a real way to make money. And so I'm really excited to just put a spotlight on some amazing members inside of our community and tell their story so that you guys can learn from it, so that you guys can relate and see, maybe some similarities where you are stuck right now and they were able to break through to hopefully help you move forward. So today, for the very first episode of the Offer Owner Spotlight, we have Joanne Adams here today. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. we
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we got connected. We were connected on Facebook before. I know when I first spoke to you, we were building out your offer one-on-one. So it's been really cool to kind of know you then and to see where you are now. So just before we get into your story and the things you've learned and overcome, let us know, like, how's your offer doing? Like, what's going on? What market are you in? And then we'll get into your story.
Yeah, totally. So I am in the fitness space, and as Josh just said there, we connected last year, and yeah, I sat on my offer for a wee while after meeting Josh, which we'll get into. But I at the end of January launched my offer, and it's sitting at 15,500 $1,000. I also have a membership as well, which has just crossed like 50 members. So yeah, it's doing really well, like really well.
That's awesome. Awesome. Love that. Cool. So now we know the numbers. We got that. Let's talk about just like this story. Cause I know, like you said, we got connected before, but what led you to the point of wanting to build your own offer, to make money from your own products? What were you doing before? What did your life look like? And then we'll just kind of walk through this story and then get into some of the challenges you overcame and the steps you took to launch your offer. But let's start with the beginning. What did your life look
Yeah.
like before?
Oh, beginning. Yeah, so I so like a big one for me, like catalyst for all of it was a physical challenge. So I have two daughters. My first one was born when I was 27, and she like destroyed me, like physically destroyed me. I was left like completely like incontinent after I had her, like totally destroyed my pelvic floor. So my husband and I, we're from Scotland, but we were looking to move to the US. So I was kind of like, I used to be in the charity sector before. So I was like, what's a job I could do maybe like from anywhere that would kind of double whammy the fact that like I can barely walk. So trained to be a fitness instructor. And that was kind of my like what I thought was going to be like this super like flexible work from anywhere job. And then the kind of logistical side really stepped in because for anyone that is a fitness instructor, you'll know that an hour teaching, like if you have kids or any kind of care and responsibilities, it's not like that's not like an hour of your time. That's like a good solid 3 hours of your time. You're like seeing the kids off before you leave, you're doing the class, you're setting up, you're teaching everyone, you're coming back. So I started out doing in-person kind of group coaching, didn't really work. And then this time last year, in fact, I moved into like online teaching, which again, I was kind of sold the idea of like, you work from anywhere, your laptop's good. And again, the reality of that set in quite fast. Like by this point, I had two kids. Like my youngest, she was like only just turned one. And it like I got to like 10 clients, I think, and I was on this like mentorship where like people were like, 70, 80 clients, and I was so emotionally burned out because I was saying this to Josh, when you're anyone in a position where you're kind of like coaching, I personally didn't have like enough solid boundaries in place, and it became this thing of like people saw me as like a therapist, and like the lines got blurred, and it was like I would wake up to 10-minute long WhatsApp voice notes, and like it got to a point where I was waking up and not even checking my phone, just knowing that there's like war and peace waiting for me like people's like emotional turmoil. And yeah, like again, part of that was like heavily like I take responsibility for like not having solid boundaries in place. But I think when you're like someone who like genuinely wants to help, people, and like you're new to, it's like a new industry. Because as I say, I only trained as a fitness instructor. My daughter's going to be 6 in the summer, so like I'm still new to all of it. Yeah, that was like a kind of turning point. I was like, I need something that's like super, like will still help people, but is like way more hands off than this. Yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, like what were like the constraints you put in place? 'Cause I talked to a lot of people and everyone has like different, like, hey, I want my business like to look like this, make money this way, serve people that way. Like after they have that hard experience, either doing a bunch of client work or getting overwhelmed, so they don't have boundaries, like your story, and learning that, like what constraints did you put in place that, you know, kind of develop the path you wanted to take with what your offer looks like now? Like what did you want
Yeah.
it to look like?
Yeah, so like one thing I would say for me, a kind of realization last year when I was like super burned out, I realized how caught up in logistics I was. And like I don't, to be honest, I don't know enough about like personality, you know, these kind of like tests you can take and like what mine is. But like I know for myself, like I'm a super creative person. Like I ended up not going, but like my plan was always like to go to art college and do something in that field. And I kind of realized in the quest to have something scalable, I like got so wrapped up in like having a kind of logistical framework, which I think for the people who work in well in that environment, like they can turn the cogs and like scale their business super high. And for me, I was like creative person going like, okay, how can like if I'm like this with 10 people, even if I had the boundaries in place, like how could I like scale that? So like Josh, I like wasted so much money last year. Like I like, you know, got someone to like build out a like ClickUp like monitoring system that like I like spent so much money. It was like
Oh no.
silly. And then like he provided it and I was like, this is like even more logistical nightmare. I was like super creatively dimmed. And I think that led to a lot of the emotional side of things. So like having an outlet that's more like creative and having the freedom to like not need to be that person if I don't want to be really helped, like because I can like now I'm in a position where like I know, you know, even though it's like in the kind of seedling phase, like I can any of these like logistical side of things to do with what I'm doing in my offer so easily outsourceable. Like it's not on me to like have to take that side of things.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I know a lot of people like who are watching this, they've had that experience where something just burnt out. I don't know what's client work, whatever. It's like I can't do this anymore. And then there's that like dream where you're like, okay, there has to be a better way, right? Classic hero's journey. You're just living it out right
Yeah.
now, right? There has to be a better way. So you obviously you start thinking that. What like piqued your curiosity or led you to like start thinking about like what market you wanted to be in, what product, like what did you see, where did you pull inspiration from, how did that kind of start coming up? Because I know it's a big thing people always ask me is like, Josh, like what market should I pick for my product? And I'm a big fan of like it just comes to you or you'll see stuff, you'll get ideas,
Yeah.
like part of being an entrepreneur. But how did you get those ideas? Where did it start?
Yeah, so if I'm honest, I like with my offer, like even though mine's completely from ground up, I like modeled it from someone who when I was coaching, like I used a kind of similar service and like it helped because like yeah, it like aided my coaching and like so one day like I couldn't get access to the service and like I messaged this woman like because I thought my dumbass was like I'm like supporting this little mom and pop business. Like it was a membership kind of model. And I thought like, you know, I'm keeping this woman afloat. She's probably shut it down. I literally messaged her, like, have you shut this down? Like it's not working. And she was like, no, like totally not. And like I happened to go on her Instagram and like she had like a picture of her jumping with like one of those like birthday balloons and it was like a big gold one. And she was like, yeah, I can't believe we've just crossed, like, it was something like 2,500 members. And I was like doing the maths in my head. It's like, so like, I can't remember I was paying her like $20 a month or something. I was like,
Yeah.
doing the maths, like, okay, so she's like, you know, even now I'm like, the cogs are turning. And like, I was thinking to myself, he was like charging, you know, and I was like low end, like one-to-one coaching. I was like charging like $160 a month. And I had 10 clients, like do the maths on that one, getting burnt out listening to War and Peace every morning. I was like,
Yeah.
like what? Like this is just insane. So like that, yeah, like I kind of, that was like realm of possibility. Because I think as well,
Yeah.
obviously this is like Taylor's oldest time, but like we look at people on Instagram who are, and like granted that woman was like celebrating, but you know, like we kind of, I think it's easy to like look at something and like face value, go like, oh, you know, that person's probably earning, you know, and you have a ballpark. And then this was just like this, so kind of inconspicuous, you know, like there was, you know, our website was good, like, you know, like aesthetically and stuff, but there was nothing for me that would be like, this girl's like absolutely killing it. So yeah, just kind of, it was a seed planted because I think I'd gone on this mastermind, as I say, last year, where it was like, you know, the guy's like walking down the beach in Abu Dhabi and, you know, he's got the cars and stuff, and you kind of take on that and you're like, wow, if people are doing that, like they must be. And I was still roped into that side of things, but just being like a mum like me, she was just, you know, she was hanging with her kids, she was chilling, she was doing this like business offer, like it was just, I was like, bing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you have this idea, you're okay, I believe it's possible now. What's the first step? Like, did you create your products first? Like, did you map everything out? Like,
I messaged you, Josh.
Oh, got
Hey,
it. And everyone swipe up, pay me now.
Yeah.
I led her right to the call to action.
Like, link below.
But before that, like, what was your thought process like before we had gotten or had our conversation on your offer?
Yeah, totally. So I think just I would probably say that was like the kind of curiosity peaked, and I was like, okay, so if that's like even a realm of possibility. And then yeah, it was just researching because there was nothing out there with what like I wanted to deliver. It was like kind of, not that what I'm doing is like super niche as such, but like I definitely thought I could like put like a personal spin on it. So it was kind of understanding the logistics and like everything to do with an offer, because I think I still come from like the up until last year, I'm like still of the generation of like Field the Dreams, like if you just like put something out there, like people buy it, like build it, they will come. So the next step was definitely like understanding like what offers were, how they worked, things like that. And then finding you.
Cool. So after we had a conversation, you know, we mapped everything out and like what your upsell flow is going to be, all of that. What step did you take then? Like once you had that, what was your next step of action in your journey of building this offer?
Yeah, so this is super important, like to stress this. Like I sat on it for 2 months, like, and I think that will be helpful for your audience to hear, because I can show what happens when you do sit on it. Like I would probably be sitting on double the income right now. And so like to give ourselves credit, like just a bit of backstory, as I say, we are moving at the moment. So when I spoke to Josh last year, we were in Portugal, we're now in Canada, we're in the process of moving to the States. So like they're, you know, obviously family comes first, but I think I was just so overwhelmed, like as much as talking with you gave me such clarity, like I think I was, when you're so like kind of like I've been doing this all wrong, and then like I saw this kind of like bright light and I was like I see the way now. I was still kind of like, oh man, like I've wasted all this money on this, and like again that kind of creative stifling really kind of had suppressed me a lot. So like I took 2 months to kind of just do nothing, and then when I came to the point of like this year, and it was like towards the end of January, I was kind of like, I really just need to do something. I think I just needed a quick win as well, and I'm sure a lot of the folk on here will resonate with that. When you're kind of just starting out, you just want something that's like, I just want to know I'm like going in the right direction. So like I truth be told, like sat on it for like a solid 2 months, and then I was like, right, okay, I just need to like put a toe in and like see if it'll work.
How long did it take you to create the products in your offer? How many days,
like,
weeks?
Not super long, because I had so like I had, from being like a coach myself, like I had like a solid bank of resources, and that like if there's any work that gets me into flow states, like creative stuff, so like I like not long. Like I could totally get an offer in like a
Yeah.
week.
Sweet. And then and a lot of people always ask in a building offer, it's like, wait, like the copy, building the funnel, all this stuff. Like, did you do it yourself? Did you hire somebody? Like when you got the product done, the marketing stuff, did you do it all yourself?
Yeah, I did it myself. Probably like truth be told. I mean, there's always like, you know, with anything, like you'll say this yourself, Josh,
Yeah.
like, you know, there's always like room for improvement on stuff, no doubt. So maybe being a bit overcritical given like I'm so new to it. But yeah, I did it all myself and like there's like I think I was just so pleased like it worked.
Yeah.
So I've deliberately not wrap myself too much in the kind of logistical side of going like
Yeah.
what is exactly like working here, what's not. Like I
Yeah.
implemented one of those like funnel tracker things, like the not Hotjar, but you know the ones that like
Yeah. Clarity or something like,
yeah, I can't remember the
yeah.
name of it, but I like clicked on it once and I was like, nah. like I could probably like have like 10 times the conversions, but I'm just like
Yeah. Yeah. So you're not a copywriter. Like you
no.
didn't, you're right. Are you a funnel builder? Like, would you consider yourself like a funnel builder experience? Like, would you sell it as a service?
No, like I do you know what? Like it's so easy for me, but I think again a lot of people resonate with this. Like I think I've just wanted to be a kind of entrepreneur for so long. Like I have so much like solid experience that I've just like got there and not really used. So
Yeah.
like in lockdown, like I did a coding course, like I did like not that it's relevant as such, but I did like computer science with like Harvard Online and stuff. Like I'm like really good, like kind of
Yeah.
technically, and then the creative side. So like those combined are good. But I think if you were like to analyze like my funnels, like maybe that's like a potential path.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But
yeah,
you're able to do it yourself. Like you were able to
yeah,
put out your first
yeah,
offer.
totally.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's because I feel like that's a big thing. I always, a lot of people, they think is like, or they come to me and even they'll be like, Josh, like, can you build my funnel? And I'm like, okay, like, do you have, where are you at? Like, oh, I'm just starting. I'm like, hey, like, you can do it yourself. Like,
Totally.
paying someone makes sense when you have more like money than even time, or you got to like use that time somewhere else or whatever. And sure, that's fine to do it. But, and we'll talk about in a second how you know, even hired your first hire for this offer, which we'll talk about in a
Yeah.
second. But talk to me about the first day you turn on ads. What happened? Was it like, I don't know this. I'm curious. Like, was it glorious? Zero
Yeah,
sales? Were you
totally.
checking your phone? Like, did you make the mistake of putting ads manager on your phone, or do you keep it off your phone?
No, I kept it off my phone.
Okay, good.
So yeah, like that was like again, like I think like for me, it would be good hearing this. Like if anyone's kind of like sitting on their offer, like just to have that quick win, like even if it's not, you know, that you're not necessarily like, you know, doubling your like your
Yeah, yeah.
return on ad spend or anything like that, just like break even like a little like, you know, below or whatever the metric is, like just seeing the fact that someone bought it, I was like, you know,
So first day, did you get a sale?
yeah, like it was like 6 hours in because I did
Oh shoot. Yeah.
I'll be honest, I think so here's the thing, like I before I launched the offer, start of January, I was like, right, you know, I'm still very like woe is me in my like creative
Yeah.
funk. So I was like, I need to get on ClickBank. So like went down a ClickBank rabbit hole for a few weeks, missed out that part. But to give ClickBank their credit, their tutorials like are pretty decent. So like
Oh,
they have
sick.
tutorials and everything from like picking offers, blah blah blah.
Nice.
But they have like ads tutorials and stuff. So like because of that, I was able to like set up the pixel. Again, it's all
Nice.
these things you kind of like don't think about and can put
Yeah.
you off if you let it. Like, so do not let that be a barrier. Like YouTube, as I say, like I did the ClickBank ones, they're pretty decent. And they said, and in the tutorial, they were like, just set it to launch at midnight, which I did. And then I think I got a sale within the first 6 hours. So like I woke up to a sale. It was amazing. Best day of my
That's
life.
awesome. That's awesome. That's sweet. I know like it can be one way or the other. Some people it's like nothing, but I mean for
Yeah.
me personally, like I haven't launched a low ticket. This even when I first started, like I haven't launched a low ticket offer and like didn't get sales on the first day. If anything, like you kind of get your best sales the first like week or so, and then
Yeah.
it starts to like taper off. So for anyone to watch this, if you're like, oh no, it's like you'll know in the first 1 to 3-ish days, like
Yeah.
what's going on, as long as you're
Yeah.
spending. So how much was your budget to start? A lot of people ask me, Josh, how much should I start a day? What did you start with?
Think I'm gonna say $25.
Okay.
Yeah, $25. Because I think again, like, like people will be like, yeah, like $5 a day, you can do it. And like anyone will say, like, you're not gonna get any kind of data with that. So yeah,
Mm.
$25 like felt manageable, like
Yeah.
easily like spend that in Starbucks. So that wasn't like crazy. And as I say, like I got a sale on the first day, and then kind of I think the most I kind of went to at that time was like 60, which felt crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, like $25.
That's awesome. And then so you launch your offer, you sale the first day. When did you run into your first like kind of oh no moment or wall, or kind of start, do you have like doubt or like what
Yeah.
happened? Did that has that happened yet? If not, awesome. But like
Oh, totally.
what's that first
Yeah.
one?
Like, yeah, like so I think do you know what, like I'm like a super kind of self-critical person, and I think the doubt for me, like I kind of grew up thinking like, like you have to work like you work an hour, like you get paid like adult,
Yeah.
X amount of dollars, like that is due, like the format. So like this whole idea is still, even though that's all like what I've been aspiring to for like
Yeah.
years, like I still have that in the back of my mind going like, I have
Mm.
to do this amount to like
Mm.
get X amount. So like I have to run myself ragged, like have to work
Yeah.
myself into the ground, do the grind. So the kind of doubt is crept in because like I think like the perfectionism, like in what like the product, I'm always like
Yeah.
I'm waiting on an email of someone going like, this is like 100% BS.
Yeah.
And it's not like, it's been the opposite. Like I had an email the other day, I showed my husband, like the testimonials have been awesome. Like there's been people who, like, like people comment on these are like really cool. Like one woman messaged me, she was like, what you've been doing, like I've been trying to do myself for like 4 years. And like when I opened up your product, she was like, I literally had tears in my eyes. And I was like,
Wow.
oh my
Wow.
God.
That's
So yeah,
awesome.
like the self-doubt's definitely there, just because I'm like, it shouldn't be like this simple. Like it should, like I need
Yeah,
to
it should
like,
be harder. It
yeah,
should be
it
harder.
should be harder
Yeah.
than it is. But like I'm trying to go with the mentality of like let it be easy. Like let
Yeah.
it be easy.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So launch it, you kind of a little bit imposter, like, wait, seems too good to be true. Fast forwarding, I know we talked before we started this call, but you have hired a media buyer to run your ads now. So
Yeah.
how does it feel now that you're not even like in your ads manager? Like at this point, what are you doing? Like, are you just doing the copy and the creative? Are you
Yeah.
fully hands off? Like, what do you even do now?
It's like nothing. I'm just chilling. Josh, I'm just chilling. No, so again, going back to that like kind of logistical side of things, again, you said there about self-doubt. One thing I super struggled with the media like buying, like although I could do it again, like
Yeah.
credit, and Josh, I have to say like the tutorial you and Nick did was like that like took it to the next level. That like took it to a place where I could then hire out. So like credit to that, because I could do it, but again the kind of the emotional, like I was able to like weave in an emotional side of things. So like there will, like no matter how good your offer is, like there's going to be days where it like tanks a
Yeah.
bit, like days it like
The
shoots
worst.
up. Like you have to be able to ride that roller coaster. And for
Yes.
me, as soon as it tanked, I took that as like my product sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was like the offers balls, like I am not cut out for this. And doing that kind of every day, because it does like peak and trough, I just wasn't cut out for it. So I yeah, it's been so good, because again, like my ideal would just be to focus on like purely like the offer and creating the product, because like the more I can invest my time into that, the better. I'm still like doing emails, and like granted, like I'll get an email, like it's like staff things, like the
Yeah.
click funneled email didn't come through, so the customer just needs sent the product. But I'm just waiting on it being like an email being like, this is the worst. This is the worst thing.
Wow.
Um yeah. So like I'm sure when I can outsource that, which will be super soon, I'll be
Oh
like
yeah, I got you.
flying.
My sister, shout out
Oh, give me your
Dominica.
sister's number.
She does our customer support, and our clients now hire her. And so she's like 16, just
Oh,
making online money, customer support
amazing.
for low ticket offers. So if you guys need a customer support rep, my
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Let's go. Well, sick. So now you're like you're sending emails once in a while. You're obviously supporting your clients or your customers if they have issues with
Yeah.
that. You're creating new products, but right now it sounds like you're really just free up to focus on improving your products and making new ones that you can launch, um, things like that, right? That's pretty much what you're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
what's like the what are you looking for into the future? I know we talked how you recently have joined Nothing Held Back Plus, right? When did you join that?
So I'll be honest, see before so I put an ad out on the job board for like a media buyer and then like super overwhelmed with like the amount of people messaging. I had like honestly
Oh
like
no, the
so
job
like I'm
boards. Yep.
like if you're watching this and I didn't reply, it's nothing personal.
Sorry.
It's just like I was so
Sorry.
overwhelmed. I was
Sorry,
in a
buddy.
pit of despair. So I got super overwhelmed and I was like, right, okay, like yeah, I was like, maybe I can just do it myself, like, but better. So I admittedly put the post out and then I was like, what if I put the money I was going to put into a media buyer into myself? So did that and like I don't like I'm like so stoked I joined, like, and I
Yeah.
definitely feel like it's been the best path. But like for what I thought was going to be the kind of like get better at Facebook ads, like while you do have that option,
Yep.
I realized I was just kind of going to get further into something like I didn't want to do. So like, what was the point in
Yeah.
that? Like it wasn't gonna, that
Yeah.
was never going to tackle that
You didn't want to
like
be a
issue I
media
had.
buyer. That wasn't your goal,
Yeah,
was like
and
to be a
like
media buyer.
there was not going to be a tutorial on like how to like not be a little bitch and like turn them off and like bring them on again. So
Yep.
like yeah, like I think I how long have I been in? I think this is like my third week,
Nice.
maybe.
Sweet.
And yeah, and
And
got the media buyer last week. So I was like in it for 2 weeks and I was like, this is like so good for my mindset and
yeah.
coffee and so much. But I'll be honest, like nothing about it's been like pure therapy for me. Like I think more than anything that's been like
Yes, facts. It
really
is.
good. It's
It's
like
good
straight up like
therapy.
yeah, like
It's nice
pretty
to
much
be
just
there.
that yeah,
What's
therapy.
Yeah, so like I know in there, Alan, he talks about something called like a catalog model, which is essentially like being like
Yeah,
an e-commerce store. You have like multiple products that
yeah,
you're cross-selling to people. And anyone who wants to learn about that, you can go into his free group. I think he has a post on it. And then of course in detailed training, like 4 hour long training, of course, every call
yeah.
4 hours. But is that like what you want to move into? Like what's your plan going forward with your products, like looking ahead now?
Yeah, so I think the catalog model kind of put a name to it because I feel I've got quite a good like industry in which there's like no shortage of problems to tackle. So like there's never gonna like I don't feel like there's never gonna be a stage where I'm like scrambling for like ideas or offers to make. So that but then that kind of comes with the problem and like you have so many offers, like how do you structure that in a way that's like strategic?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna like go down the catalog model route. As I say, like I've got a membership which I would love to grow because that's kind of like again a self-feeling thing because
Yeah.
people are able to tell me what like they want for offers and stuff. Yeah, it's again just the kind of logistical side of things. I'm like trying to wrap my head around so I can
Yeah.
apply my creativity to it. Because yeah, it's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's awesome. Well, looking back, like, and like your story, we've heard kind of like front to back, like what you experienced and gone through. But what would you say to that person who was like you, who is trying to get out of what they're currently doing and get into this offer ownership where things are a little more passive? What would you tell them?
It's like so cliche, but just like you just need to take the action. I think again, like I am such a prime example of what'll happen if you just like sit on it. Because I think the longer you sit on it, this is like where people get resentment because they're like, your offer will pop up. Like, like I believe in like manifestation and like the universe and like how, your offer will come to you is like a download, and unless you act on it, someone else will get that download. So you'll maybe years down the line be like, oh, that dude's making like, you know, X amount, and I could have done that like 7 years ago. So like I think just like any action you can take today, and it doesn't, as I say, like it doesn't have to be, because I think when you see these numbers and stuff, you're kind of like, oh God, like you start doing the maths, and the maths is where it's just going to ruin you. Like you just need to like do the tutorial, like, and then just like follow it step by step. I think any of these kind of, if you're like, go more into the action route rather than the consumption route, because there's only so much you consume. So if you are doing like, you know, whether it's like a YouTube tutorial, like how to set up your pixel, whatever that is, like do it, and make sure you do it like along with the video. Like don't allow the video to end without you having taken the action. I'm trying to remind myself of that, and like the Nothing Held Back videos, like it would be so easy to sit there and go like, wow, that's like 4 hours of therapy, but like it doesn't mean much unless you like apply it. So like making sure you're like not allowing the day to end without like action in something you've learned. Because if you're doing those little bits a day, even if it's like an audiobook or something, or you know, like watching this video, anything like that, if you're able to like just take that action on that day, that will lead into like, you know, you're compounding on yesterday's action every day. So then, you know, by the end of the week, you've got your offer out and you've spent $25, and you see that first sale comes through, and then that's like snowball effect, right? So just
awesome.
do it.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm excited to see all of the messages from people who are inspired from this, and the breakthroughs that come from just the takeaways they got here today. And I'm excited to hear when you hit 30,000, 40,000, 50, 100, wherever, however far you want to take this. I'm excited to see those milestones, and we'll have a follow-up episode when we get there to hear some of the new things that you overcome, because we know there's always new levels. Like there's always new
You'll
levels.
You'll be in my membership, Josh.
Yeah, I'll be in there learning, taking notes. Hey,
totally,
but yeah, so hey, everyone watching this, thank you so much. If you have a story you'd like to share, if you're in our community and you have a similar story, or just your own story of going from, you know, doing client work or working for other people to owning your own offer, feel free to message me. We'd love to have you on the Offer Owner Spotlight. And make sure below to show some love to Joanne here for just taking her time out of the day, being a mother of 2, busy life. Man, being here today, thank you so much. And everyone, we will see you on the next episode. Peace out.